Welcome, fight fans. This is Mark G. Thank you for tuning in to the 203 Fight Network. It is Wednesday, April 26th, 2017, and I am very excited. We are ready to preview Episode 2 of TUF 25 Redemption, which airs tonight at 10 p.m. on FS1. Don't tune into that until you tune into this. That preview, the fight, and all what's happening in TUF, in the TUF house, coming up next. Don't miss it. Another day, another Wednesday. The 203 Fight Network is here, ready to give you your TUF 25 preview, Redemption, Episode 2. I'm ready. And how we all doing today? Thank you again for joining me. I'm Mark G. If you didn't know that already, now you know. I am here to give you a little bit of insight. On tonight's episode of TUF 25. Team Garbrandt versus Team Dillashaw. Definitely should be an interesting episode. Will be an interesting season. I thought episode 1 was rather interesting. But we'll see how it goes. Now, today I am sitting down. I'm a little tired. This morning, this Wednesday, April 26th. Let me see if I got that right, because I almost forgot. Yep, it is the 26th, of course. Now, before we get into what we got coming up tonight on the TUF 25, just talk a little bit about last week's episode and some of the stuff that just kind of went around, during the week and whatnot. I think a lot of people were talking about, obviously, the big choke and the move there that Garbrandt put on Dillashaw, and a lot of people kind of considered it bullying. I to be honest, I kind of thought it was bullying at first myself. Just on the total, how he was totally acting, towards TJ. TJ really wasn't doing much of anything. He was just there, kind of sitting there, making sure that he, he's definitely seemed like he was aware, but he did have his hands in his pockets, come to find out later. But, I was definitely kind of surprised. I don't think they really need to get into this physical type of thing to promote all this. There's such a rivalry there that there doesn't, that they should have told these guys, man, from the start, look, no contact. That would make everything so much more interesting. Just, have them, yeah, sure, maybe have some people break them up, or just don't let it get to that point, because once they start kind of putting their hands on each other, not only does it lose a little bit of, that whole aura that the rivalry is brought, But now you kind of see, look at how he choked him there, and look at, and TJ really didn't do much back, and you never know what types of impressions that people might get. But TJ handled himself like a pro, a consummate pro, and I wouldn't really expect anything really less out of him. You hear these stories on how he was possibly in the gym, and very competitive, and he seems like he's a competitive kid, and both these guys are very talented. I know that on the recent UFC Unfiltered podcast with Matt Serra and Jim Norton, TJ Dillashaw was a guest. Did kind of talk a little bit about that incident and just a little bit about Cody and certain their relationships, and he did say some less than stellar things about Cody, and being fatherless, and I thought it was a little out of line, but you know what, a lot of things have been said about TJ, and he's kind of fighting back now, I guess you can say. So you can't hold things against people, sometimes for what they say, but I'm really curious to see what kind of, you do kind of wonder what kind of drama might, come out of here into the show. What I find really interesting about tonight is the fight, actually, because, Eddie Gordon versus Tom Gallicchio, and, Eddie Gordon was really one of my favorites to win this. He is moved down from 185, at least from fighting at 185. He was also on the UFC Unfiltered podcast today, and he, he kind of gave a little bit background on how he got started in. And it's kind of funny because his first UFC event was my first UFC live event. But the only difference is he's been, he's a little bit younger than I am, so, and a little bit bigger, I guess, I've never been close to 300 pounds. I've been up to about 230, 240, but then I got sick. But that's a whole other podcast that we don't even want to talk about, and I'm sure you don't want to hear. But Eddie the Truck Gordon is fighting Tom the Tank. Now, normally, if you're just talking about a regular, ordinary, just a regular truck, even you can even maybe an 18-wheeler. I don't know, but a tank is a pretty powerful thing. But in this case, I don't see the tank overcoming the truck, and we'll get into all that in a few minutes. I'm definitely not going to make this too long. Don't want to make it, show's only an hour, so you can't really go too crazy on the preview, I guess, or the review. Which please stay tuned for my review. TUF 25 review tonight. Hopefully I can get that up as fast as I possibly could after the show, and we'll see with the uploading to YouTube. Always takes a little bit, and I will try and stay up late. I stay up late a lot. I'll try. I do work in the morning. I have a pretty tough job. It's funny because Eddie Gordon, talking on UFC Unfiltered today, was talking about his first UFC 101, this and that, and also talking about, what his father did for a living, cabinet maker. That's what I do. So it was just kind of funny, and it is super hard work, man, super, super hard. But, I do kind of, I do enjoy it, but this is a whole other venture here for me. So we will see. This kid used to walk around, close to, 300 pounds. Was a former all-state wrestler in New York. Knew Chris Weidman pretty well, and Chris Weidman was really the one that kind of got him into MMA, back in 2000. I believe that was 2009. Yeah, it doesn't say the date. But I do believe it was 2009, August 8th, 2009. Was UFC 101, because obviously, if that was right after UFC 100. And I've been to a bunch of UFCs after that. There it is. If you get a chance to go to an event, probably, I mean, at least on my end, from what I've seen, and I've been to a lot of MMA events, obviously, but the production is great, man. And I've been to NFL games, I've been to NBA games, I've been to NHL games, I've been to NCAA games, I've been to the Big East tournament, I've been to the, I've been to Yankee playoff games, Major League Baseball. I've been, you name it. There's not many sporting events. I've been to. I've been to professional golf tournaments. I don't even like golf, but I've been to these sporting events, wrestling, fighting. I've been to boxing matches. I've been to MMA fights. I've been to everything, and the UFC puts on a great show. They really do. It's fantastic. It's you just hope that the fights kind of outperform everyone and everything, and then it's usually a fun night. Fun night. So let's get into this. Now, switch cameras here so I can just kind of check out one of my tablets at the same time. That way I'm not kind of totally all, looking away. All right. So we did go over Eddie Gordon he did actually start fighting at light heavyweight. Eddie was a pretty successful kid going in. Had only one loss going into the Ultimate Fighter house, TUF 19, which he was the winner, knocked out Diego Lima. Went over all this in the TUF 25 total preview show that I did last week. Please go back there and check that out on the channel if you get a chance. It's a great video. You go back, leave a comment, tell me how I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell, like, do all that. I'm trying my best here. You can always try harder, though. But I'm just going to put some stuff out. Hopefully everybody likes the content. There's not much. There's a few channels out there, but there's not many things, out there. So let's, I want to hear what other people really have to think about all this. Now, Eddie Gordon, well, the reason why I paused there is because, his next fight was to Josh Saman. I hope I said that right. If not, I'm sorry, man. Rest in peace, kid. He, another former TUF contestant. It was a vicious head kick that he lost by. His next fight, he kind of came back in. It was a split decision fight. Loss to Chris Dempsey. And then he lost again. So 3 in a row, and then he got cut. And he was actually submitted. So he was knocked out and submitted. Anthony Carlos Jr. might even have been a TUF Brazil contestant as well. But all those fights were at 185. And not to say that, he's a small guy. I mean, he's 6 feet. He's just been walking around very heavy his entire life. And like he said on the Unfiltered today, he likes to eat. And I can definitely respect that because I like to eat too. And I really enjoy food. I've had to cut back a lot over the years. That just happens when you get old, kids. You just have to take care of yourself a little better and eat healthy. Sometimes eating kale isn't the greatest thing. So you know what you do? You take the kale, you fry it. I don't care. No, I'm just playing. Anyway, he did almost have a stint on TUF 17 before TUF 19, but they didn't think at the time that he was going to be able to make 185. That's when he had since moved down to 185 from when he used to fight at 205. Now he's moving down to 170. That's the only reason why I brought that up a couple times. It's got to be kind of a tough thing to lose all that weight and then be fighting, because your body has to still be adjusting. Now, he did have a fight. He did make a test cut, so he knows that he can make 170 as long as he stays disciplined with his diet, which I believe he has been doing. So like he talked about, from how he's grown and from where he's been and how from when he started, just being very heavy and then cutting down to 185, really drained him out. We see that happen a lot to fighters who end up cutting a lot of weight. Over the years, there's been so many guys that has that have cut a lot of weight, done well. I mean, that's just you're going to have those numbers, but you're also going to have guys that aren't going to feel as good and do as well with cutting that much weight, where they're not going to be able to cut weight and still be able to perform at that high level and beat the competition. That's also I mean, you got these your opponents here are, they're top notch, man, and this is the UFC, man. This is the pinnacle. This is like this UFC event, every pay-per-view event, man, that's like a Super Bowl. That's their Super Bowl. These aren't games. They don't play games. They put on big events, big fights, so everything's big. You don't perform, they're next in line. And that's what happened to my man Eddie Gordon here. Lost 3 in a row. He got cut. Did get a win. Chris Lozano was fought in Bellator several times. It was a split decision. Lozano's also got a lot of power. I didn't see this fight. This fight was in CFFC, a promotion I'm not too familiar with, although I think it is local here to the East Coast. But like I said, he did win. He got back on the show. He's getting his chance. So we'll see what happens. I do like him in this fight tonight. One thing that really kind of gives me an idea that he might win this fight and might be moving on is the fact that they did a little vignette, like a 1-minute vignette. I was going to try to put it up here on the in the video. I didn't really have too much time, and I got to kind of get going in a little bit too, and I don't want to make this too long. So I will be getting some things like that going on here and make the videos a little more interesting for everyone. So hopefully you'll enjoy that. And wow, that was quick. Oh, anyway. Cool. Just got my refund from Amazon. Nice. So, let's move on to his opponent, who's a little smaller. Looks like he used to fight at 155. Both these guys are East Coast guys and probably know each other. Probably know each other well, just because New York, New Jersey. But Tom fought back in April 2016, where he lost by TKO in round 4 in Triumph FC. So it looked like he was fighting for that Triumph title. Coming back after not fighting for 2 years, he was on a 3-fight winning streak before he took his little hiatus, which was probably due to injury or some other things. I really don't know, so I'm not going to try and speak on it. I can just look at, his past fight history, and we can kind of try and see where he's at. I don't believe I'd have to go back and watch my TUF preview show to find out if Tom did not even really make it in. Yeah, because he's never fought in the UFC, so he's never necessarily made it into the house. And it's actually kind of a cool thing that SureDog puts the TUF results down, especially the ones that are considered the pro fights, which I think that's kind of what they're doing. So I'm a little confused on whether it's officially counting against their record or not. I've noticed that the UFC has added some of these wins or maybe even losses that these guys have had in the TUF house or during the time of the TUF tournament, and put them on their permanent record, but it's not being recognized in some other places, but it's neither. Really doesn't matter. So, yeah, he did lose a unanimous decision. Opening round is saying day 3 Ultimate Fighter. Yeah, so, what's this? Wow. Yeah, so he did make it in. He did win his fight to get into the house elimination, the elimination fight by rear naked choke in the first round. But he did end up losing, I guess, in the opening round after that. They listed it as day 3. I did not watch season 22, Just kind of getting a little bit away from it. And one season I did enjoy was the TUF Live. The TUF Live had a lot of great lightweights on there. It really did. I mean, L.I. Quinta, Michael Chiesa, James Vick turned out to be pretty good, and and up and coming. But how about L.I. Quinta, man? And we'll see. Why doesn't maybe? I'm just throwing this out there. I don't see it. I don't really see it happening. You never know. Al might not even fight. Yeah, they're gonna end up having to throw a lot of money at him. But let's see. But how about him and Chiesa in a rematch? Let's say Chiesa beats Kevin Lee, which I think is going to be a tough fight, and we're going to go over all that when the time comes. Maybe even talk about that a little bit sooner. But let's see what happens. But Tom, Toothless Tom, they call him. He likes to be called the Tank, Datank, Duh Tank. Just for that, bro. Come on, man. Come on. Seriously? Duh, Tank. Seriously. No wonder Andrew McKinnis TKO'd you in the 4th round at Triumph FC1 Inception. I don't know what belt he was fighting for there, but he's moved up. See, he just doesn't really... I'm pretty sure that Garbrandt got to pick this fight because I don't see Dillashaw picking this matchup. So I just don't remember off the top of my head. But I know that I know Gordon's team Garbrandt, Gallicchio. I should know this. I'm Italian myself, but he's obviously Team Dillashaw. I just don't see it happening, man. Serious size disadvantage. He doesn't have exceptional power. He does have a lot of submissions. He is a great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I believe he trains at top team this here Team Quest, but for some reason I'm thinking it's something to do with top team. I just remember hearing that with this guy. Maybe he was some kind of coach or whatever. And that's no disrespect, but Tank. I mean, come on. I'm pulling for Eddie Gordon on this. He's an East Coast guy. He's right. He's right over there. Right across the sound. Right there. You take the ferry. It's a lot of money. Actually, you bring your car on there. It's actually pretty cool. So, I am going to definitely think that Gordon is going to win this. I actually think Gordon might finish him. Hey, we're filming this. I'm just trying to see if this was a good amount of time for Tom to take off before returning to fight, but that's neither here nor there. This will be a pretty good fight. Let's hope that there's some sparks. Let's hope there's some things happen there on the house, and it'll make up for good TV. There's 6 weeks of shooting that they put into 8-10 episodes, and so it's not even. You got to figure they got to put the fight in there, and so we'll see. If it was a knockout, there'll be more of a show, and you'll be able to know that this is going to be a stoppage. But I don't see Eddie Gordon losing this. I see Eddie Gordon going pretty far in this tournament. So hopefully that happens, and we will find out. Thank you for joining me again. I'm Mark G. This is the 203 Fight Network. Please get back to the channel tonight after TUF, and stay tuned for my TUF review and results. We'll go over the fight. We'll go over what happened on the house. Maybe there'll be another choking incident that we can talk about. But until then, please subscribe, hit that like button, comment, let me know what you think.